Hey guys, hope you're all doing great. I'm Ethan, and today we're diving into another set of wild Reddit stories. If you enjoy these deep dives, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you won't miss the next one. All right, fellas, let's jump right in. First story coming up. Much love, boys.
I was halfway through the attic when I found the box that ended my marriage. It said winter decorations in my handwriting, the loop on the W, the same as on our Christmas cards. Inside the fake snow and tangled lights, there was a phone wrapped in red tissue like a secret. She told me she'd lost that iPhone a year ago. The screen still had a lock of dust and, when it woke up, a glow like a lie breathing. I told myself to put it back. I told myself none of this mattered. Then the screen buzzed awake the way a guilty heart twitches. Messages. Last seen 2 days ago, it felt like standing on a frozen lake and hearing the crack run under your feet. We live in Worcester, Massachusetts, in a Cape Cod that always smells like the last thing you cooked, which in December is butter and cinnamon and coffee. I'm 38. My wife Jenna is 36. We met at a skating rink in high school. She liked that I could go backward and not fall. I liked that she had a laugh you could hear over the Zamboni. We have a little balsam fir we buy from the same guy on Chandler Street every year. We still hang the paper snowflakes her niece made when she was 6. The same niece who now posts selfies from freshman year with the hashtag grown. That's how time sneaks by you. 1 minute you're on a rented rink in a rented tux, the next you're in an attic with a phone that should not be beating. I cupped it in my palm like it could burn a hole through me. The passcode was the same one she'd used on everything since college. Her birth month and day twice. I wasn't proud I remembered. I wasn't proud that my thumb hovered. I was just a man trying not to drown. The home screen still had our old dog as the wallpaper. Murphy had died in May. He's looking up at the camera in that photo, trusting. Behind him, you can see Jenna's boots and the hem of her red coat. The coat is in our front closet right now. The boots too. Trust is the thing you keep, even when it doesn't fit. I opened messages. A thread sat pinned at the top. Blue dot, heart icon. The contact saved as J, not a name. Just J. The last message was 10 days old. The one before was 2 days older. The thread went back a year. On the day she told me she'd lost this phone at the hospital, there were heart photos at 11:43 p.m. A picture of a bar receipt, a live photo that caught a laugh that wasn't mine. Live photos are tricky things. They hold a second before and after. When I pressed the picture, a sound came on, ice in a glass, someone whistling off key. The frame jumped and showed a mirror on the wall behind Jenna's face. You could see a man's shoulder next to her, a dark blue jacket with a logo on it that said Merit Electric. I know that company. Their vans are all over the city. I scrolled. Still on for Sunday? He wrote. Only if you bring the red scarf, she replied. It smells like you. I set the phone down on the floorboards and breathed the attic dust until it scratched the back of my throat. The light bulb above me hummed like a complaint. The house creaked, a sound I used to find cozy and now sounded like a stomach in pain. Maybe it was all old. Maybe 2 days ago meant 2 days since the last time the phone touched Wi-Fi. Maybe, but there were more threads. A second one was someone saved as Amy Brainstorm with little lightning emojis. That's her work friend, the one who says we stan about everything. They texted about covering and switching. One said, this weekend, if you can snag the night shift, wink. A winking face, not even shy about it. I swallowed the hurt like it was medicine. Then I pocketed the phone and went downstairs to our warm kitchen and poured coffee like I was still that man who only thought about salt and sugar and heat. Jenna was at Target. She was always at Target in December. I called her. Hey, she said over cartwheels. I'm staring down a wall of wrapping paper. Do we want plaid or snowmen? Do you remember your old iPhone? I said. Which, oh, the one I lost. Yeah. Found it, I said, in the attic, in the winter box. There was a small pause. You could hear a store announcement in the background about gift cards. Huh, she said. That's weird. I could have sworn I left it at work. Last active 2 days ago, I said, and the words came out flat like nails dropping in a dish. Wi-Fi ghosts, she said, a little laugh, the shrug in her voice. My iCloud is connected to a million things. It probably... Listen, do you want to just text me the paper decision? The line is all ready. Plaid, I said. Get plaid. She exhaled like someone saved from a larger decision. Plaid it is. Love you. Love you, I said, because my mouth is trained. When she got home with bags, she kissed my cheek and said, I'm starving, like the whole day was about hunger and supply chains and none of it was about me. I waited until she showered. The bathroom fan always covers a lot. I took the phone out again and looked at the photos. There was a folder called Hidden, which is like locking a door with a curtain for a window. I tapped. Nights at a bar I don't recognize, a motel room with a fake-looking painting of a lighthouse, the edge of a man's hand in one, a thick silver ring on his middle finger. In a mirror in the corner of another, you could see a hallway sign in the reflection. I zoomed. The corner of an M and the bottom curve of an O, motel. Merrimack? Memory is a cruel thing when it helps. I'm an assistant manager at a hardware store. I know the city by screws and paint fumes. On my lunch break the next day, I drove slow down Park Ave, then Chandler, looking for that lighthouse painting in a lobby. I didn't find it. But I did find a Merritt electric van outside the Oak Ridge Apartments by Webster Square. I parked a block away and watched like a man watches the water for a bubble. A guy came out with that same blue jacket. He wore a beanie, then took it off, and I saw the hairline and the jaw from the mirror. He wore a thick silver ring. He took out his phone and smiled. Then he tucked his scarf into his jacket. Red. He crossed the lot and got into the van, and the van's door slid shut with the same sigh I'd heard in the live photo. That stupid sound will follow me until I die. I wasn't sure I wanted to know more. Knowing is the iron that flattens you, or it's the bar you use to pull yourself up. You don't know which until later. But I kept digging because I am a man, and digging is one of the few things I'm good at. I checked the health app because Jenna always rolled her eyes at me tracking my steps. There were nights labeled sleep that didn't look like sleep. Spikes at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., a roller coaster instead of a lake. You don't need a degree to read a graph when it looks like a scream. Then there was wallet. Apple Pay leaves little crumbs. 2 charges at a place called Harbor Inn, both on Sundays, both labeled lounge. Harbor Inn is out on Route 20, a place with Christmas lights on the eaves all year. The lounge has a painting of a lighthouse. That night, Jenna said she had to work late. December is hell at her hospital. She went in with a tote bag that jingled like bells, as if guilt needed a soundtrack. I stood in the living room with our tree half strung and looked at the face of the angel on top. The face is chipped from the time it fell in 2016 and we glued it. You can love a thing after it breaks. You can, but you will always see the crack. I was halfway to calling Harbor Inn when I put the phone down and called my brother instead. His name is Ward. He lives 30 minutes away and has 2 little boys and a life that looks like a pamphlet. He said, "You want me to come over?" "No," I said. "I just needed a voice that isn't mine." "You okay?" I found her phone in the attic, the lost one. "Damn," he said, a soft curse like a hand on my shoulder. "You sure?" "I'm sure enough." "You want advice or you want me to just listen?" "I don't know," I said, because both sounded better than the silence I was living in. "Then I'll say this," he said. "Don't do anything tonight that makes a lawyer rich tomorrow. Breathe, write down what you know, sleep if you can, and if you can't, call me. We'll watch dumb movies until the sun comes up." I didn't sleep. I scrolled. I read a text from Jay that said, "That red sweater, wear it again." She replied with a selfie in our bathroom, and if you look at the mirror on the door, you can see our guest towels with little embroidered snowmen on them. 2 worlds in one frame. A house is not a home, it's a set of rules actors follow until someone forgets the line. In the morning, when Jenna came home, she was softer than usual, like she'd had a good dream and wanted to carry it into the day. She kissed me for real and said, "Coffee?" And I washed her hands as she reached for a mug. "No ring. Where's your ring?" I asked. She glanced at her fingers, as if surprised they existed. "Oh, took it off for a rash. Sanitizer is eating me alive." She looked at me over the steam from her cup and must have seen something in my eyes because she said, "What?" "Do you ever drive out to Route 20? I asked. "There's a Harbor Inn." "The gift shop," she said. "Maybe with Lauren once last spring. They had candles." "Why?" "No reason," I said, because the truth would not leave my mouth without taking blood with it. She tilted her head. "Evan, your face!" "What about it?" "It looks like you swallowed a lit match." "Work," I said. "We're out of snow shovels. People act like it's my fault. Winter exists." She laughed and touched my arm and said, "It kind of is, Mr. December," and walked away. That laugh used to ring like church bells. Today it sounded like a lid clanging back on a pot. I decided to wait. Christmas was a week away. If I confronted her now, it would be a fight in a kitchen and a night in a spare room, and maybe I'd sleep at Ward's, and the tree would still be there like a joke wearing lights. I wanted time. I wanted the shape of a choice. I wanted her to look at something and see herself in it. I started keeping a list, not like a detective, but like a husband on his last nerve. The smell on her scarf on Tuesday wasn't her perfume, it was something sharper, a men's cologne with cedar. Thursday, she said she was exhausted but stayed up, organizing gifts in the basement for 2 hours with her phone face down beside her. Friday, there was a charge on our joint card for a bottle of red wine from a liquor store by Webster Square. Saturday, she put on that red sweater with the tiny pearl buttons and said she was meeting Amy for an eggnog latte and a Target run. She came home smelling like the lounge at Harbor Inn. You can wash a glass, but never all the way. Sunday afternoon, I drove to the Harbor Inn alone. I sat in the lot and watched couples walk in. I watched a woman in a red sweater cross the lobby to a man in a navy jacket. I watched them hug. My car heater blew hot on my face and made my eyes water. I told myself it was the heat. I told myself a lot of things. I drove away before they saw me because I didn't trust my hands not to do something stupid. On Monday, I took the box back to the attic and cleared a space under the tree for when it would come back down. On Tuesday, I wrapped it in the plaid paper. On Wednesday, I bought a small white tag. On the tag I wrote, in my careful block letters, "Your past. Merry Christmas." Then I slid the tag string under the ribbon and tied it tight. It wasn't a plan, not really. It was a mirror with lights around it. I wasn't the only one picking up signals. At the hardware store, my coworker Ray asked if I was sick. She said, "You got that cloudy look like a jar that used to hold peaches." Ray is 22 and says things like that. I told her I was fine. She said, "If anyone hurt you, tell me where they live so I can write bad Yelp reviews." I smiled because it was kind and because humor is a splint. At home that night, I put on a Christmas album and we trimmed the tree together. We took out the snowflakes from her niece and the clay star I made in a class with my mom in 3rd grade. We pretended like pretending is a virtue. When we got to the bottom of the box, Jenna reached for the tissue-wrapped thing and frowned. "What's that?" she said. "A surprise," I said, and she smiled with the mouth of someone who's been given good news. "I put it under the tree, front and center." "You're cruel," she said, playful, tapping the top. "Is it for me?" "It's for both of us," I said. "But yes, it's yours to open. If there is a hell for me, it is that week." The figure 8 of pretending and knowing, the way she hummed while she wrapped gifts, the way she texted with her phone tilted away from me, not because she cared about privacy, but because lying turns everyone into a magician hiding coins. On Thursday night, we went to Jenna's parents' house and her mom touched my face with cold hands and said, "You look drawn." I said, "Work," and she said, "My poor boy." And I almost told her right there, between the fridge and the magnet that says, "Bless this mess." I didn't. Jenna's dad poured me a neat whiskey and told me a story about his friend's snowblower exploding. I laughed at the right parts. Then I excused myself and stood in the hallway and stared at old family photos. Jenna at 6 in a ballet tutu, Jenna at 16 in a prom dress, awkward and perfect. Me and Jenna at 24 under a string of lanterns at our wedding, both of us standing with the arrogance of people who think they have invented love. I touched the glass and felt my own face cool on it. On Friday, the first snow fell heavy and fast. We shoveled together and made a path for the mail carrier and for the future. She slipped once and I caught her and we laughed. If you want to understand why people stay, it's moments like that. A body you know in your arms. The muscle memory of saving each other from small falls. Saturday night, she said she was going to a cookie exchange. I said, "Save me the snickerdoodles." She said, "Always," and winked like she was on a sitcom. I watched her from her window as she walked to her car. She texted 30 minutes later a photo of a plate of cookies and some glitter filter on top like sugar and a caption that said, "Amy's in her peppermint era." The timestamp said 6012. At 7003, there was a charge in our bank app for the Harbor Inn Lounge. I watched the number appear like frost on a window. I felt nothing and then everything. I took the phone from the attic out of its paper and slid it into the box again. I put the box back under the tree. I sat on the couch and stared at the lights until my pupils shrank. When she came home at 10, she smelled like cedar in someone else's winter. She kissed me, but her mouth didn't land on mine. It landed somewhere she wasn't. "Fun?" I said. "So fun," she said, and dropped a bag of cookies on the table. "Save you the snickerdoodles." I nodded. I ate one to have something to do with my teeth. Christmas morning, the house held its breath. I woke up early and made cinnamon rolls from a can and coffee strong enough to stand a spoon. Jenna shuffled down in slippers, hair up, eyes bright, a sweatshirt that said Santa Baby in pink script. She kissed me on the nose. She said, "My love," like talking to a pet. I wanted to break, and I wanted to be made of steel. I wanted to be anything but what I was. We opened stockings. We opened the sweater from her mom I had already seen in the Amazon app. We opened the socks that say "best husband," as if nouns could save us. Then I slid the plaid-wrapped box across the rug to her. "Ooh," she said, "this is the one you teased. What is it?" "Memories," I said. "A keepsake." She pulled the ribbon loose, the tag fluttered, and she read it. "Your past. Merry Christmas." Her face did a tiny thing then, a flicker, a hitch, the first bad note of a song. Then she smoothed it with a smile. "You're dramatic," she said, voice light as tissue. She took off the top. When she saw the phone, her hands went still. There are silences that have shape. This one was wide and low and heavy. Her eyes snapped to mine and back to the phone like magnets. "Why?" she said, and it wasn't a question with a question mark. It was a punch. "Why would you do that?" "This was in the attic," I said. "In the winter box. Lost, you said." "It was," she said too fast. It must have gotten mixed in with—" "Last seen 2 days ago," I said. My voice was steady. "Harbor Inn Lounge, Sunday, the red sweater." Her mouth opened. She closed it. She looked down at the phone like it might give her lines. She touched it with her fingers the way you touch a stove to see if it's still hot. "Evan," she said finally, and the way she said my name made me brace, like a car braking on black ice. "I can explain." "You can tell a story," I said. "I don't think you can explain." She made a sound, a half laugh, half cough. "We've been off for a while," she said. "You know that." "We have been tired," I said. "We have been busy. We have not been liars." "Don't make this about morals," she said, some steel entering her. "This is about loneliness, yours and mine." My hands began to shake. I held them together like I was praying. "Who is he?" "It's not about him," she said. "It's about me not feeling seen. And then someone did." "I saw you," I said, and the words tasted of metal. "I see you right now." She stared at me and, for a second, her face crumpled, the truth trying to walk out from behind the stage curtain. Then she dragged the curtain back into place. "I tried to end it," she said. "I tried more than once." "Try harder," I said, "or tell me and end us honest." "It wasn't supposed to be a thing," she said, as if that helped, as if the size of the fire was the point and not the match. "Jenna," I said, and my voice broke on the second syllable. "Please don't make me the bad guy for finding the box you put in my house." She pressed her fingers to her eyes and shook her head. "You put it under the tree," she said, voice small, "like a trap." "Like a mirror," I said. "I wanted you to see what I see." She set the phone down on her lap, palms empty, as if she'd just placed a very heavy thing on the earth. "What do you want me to say?" she asked. "The truth," I said. "How long?" "A year," she said. "On and off." "Yay," I said. She nodded. "Jason, he fixes electrical at the hospital." "The red scarf smells like him," I said, because that detail felt like a final, stupid nail, a thing so tiny and so loud. She looked at the tree. She looked at the angel on top with the glued face. "I'm so sorry," she said, and for a moment, for half a breath, I believed she meant it so hard that if I'd closed my eyes, we would have been okay. Then she added, "But I've been asking for more for a long time, and you—" "Don't," I said, and put a hand up like a crossing guard. "Don't take me to that place where I apologize for being cheated on. I will not live there." She flinched, a visible jolt. Her mouth moved, and then she clamped it shut. Her eyes filled, and one tear escaped and ran the same track it always does down her left cheek. It was all too familiar. I hated that already. I knew the map of her crying and loved it anyway. We didn't talk for a while. Christmas music played something about peace. The cinnamon rolls sat on their plate like small, dumb hope. Finally, she said, "What happens now?" "I don't know," I said, and it felt honest, which is a rusty tool, but sometimes it still works. I know I'm not unseeing this. I know I'm not eating it like a piece of stale cake. I know I'm not going to be your plan A that makes your plan B exciting. "Are you leaving?" she asked, and I could hear the little girl and the woman, the child and the wife. "I'm not leaving the house today," I said. "You can. Take your coat, go to your parents. Think, I'll be here, not forever, but today." She wiped her face. She stood. "I hate you for doing this on Christmas," she said, and I swallowed a laugh because absurdity is the last rope across a ravine. "I didn't do this," I said. "I wrapped it." She grabbed her keys. At the door, she stopped and turned. I did love you, she said. I do. Then love should admit more to you, I said. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't do anything cinematic. I just said it like a fact. It sounded like when the cash drawer closes at the store. Final. Practical. When the door shut, the house sighed. I sat on the floor and leaned against the couch and watched the tree blink, slow, then fast. I picked up the old phone and put it on the coffee table. The angel at the top of the tree tilted slightly, watching, or maybe that was my imagination trying to make the universe help. I called Ward. It's done, I said. You okay? He asked. No, I said, and then I was. Not okay exactly, but upright. I need a lawyer's name and a good sandwich place that's open on Christmas. I got both, he said. You want me to come sit with you? Later, I said. Right now I want to hear myself think without anyone else's weather in the room. After I hung up, I called the Harbor Inn and asked for the lounge. A bored voice answered. I said, This is Evan. This is not a complaint, but you should know your lighthouse painting is doing a lot of heavy lifting this season. The woman laughed, confused. Merry Christmas, Evan, she said. Merry Christmas, I said, because the day is the day no matter what happens in it. Then I took the angel off the tree. I held her in my hands and looked at the glue line down her face. You can love a thing after it breaks. You can. But sometimes you put it in a box and label it true and put it on a shelf you never plan to climb again. When Jenna came back that night, she didn't come in. She texted from the driveway. Can you bring me some clothes? I packed a bag and set it on the porch. She stood by her car with her coat wrapped tight and her eyes red. She looked smaller. Not like a person I could fold back into, more like a person far away on a winter road, taillights smearing as she goes. She said, I'll call you tomorrow. I said, use your new phone. The old one is out of battery. She flinched again, then nodded. Okay. Jenna? She turned. She turned. I'm going to be okay, I said, and only then did I know it was true. A week later, I met with a lawyer and signed the first papers. I told my boss I needed a few days. Ray left a container of lasagna on my porch and a note that said, proud of you for not exploding. Ward took me to see a stupid action movie where the hero survives 6 explosions and a fall off a bridge and keeps his hat on the whole time. We laughed too loud in an empty theater. On Saturdays, I started driving to a hill outside the city and walking up it and down again until my legs shook because shaking from effort felt better than shaking from fear. On New Year's Day, I bought a new ornament on sale, a simple glass ball with space to slip a paper inside. I wrote the date and one word, boundaries. I slid it in and hung it on the little hook on a nail in my office, the one that holds the calendar where I mark when the snowblower needs oil. I don't know where I'll be next December. Maybe the house will be sold. Maybe the tree will be different. But I know the box that said winter decorations won't hold a lie again. You learn strange skills when your heart breaks. I can spot the glow of a phone under a napkin across a room. I can hear the difference between a laugh of joy and a laugh of relief. I can make cinnamon rolls with my eyes closed. I can sit in a quiet house in winter and feel the heat click on and remember I'm alive. A month after Christmas, Amy Brainstorm texted me. She apologized. She said she hadn't known the details, that she thought she was covering for self-care, that she felt sick. I told her to take care of herself and to choose her lightning bolts more carefully. Then I blocked the number because forgiveness and access are 2 very different doors. Sometimes, standing in the hardware store, I help people pick out new door locks. I tell them the grade and the finish and which ones hold up best against cold. I don't say the part about how locks don't keep out the worst things, only people. The worst things are the stories we tell ourselves at night when the phone glows. But I'll tell them this if they ask. Truth doesn't rot in a box. It breathes. It will find you. Wrap it however you want. It will still arrive. On the first day of spring, the Harbor Inn took down the lighthouse painting and put up a picture of tulips. I know because I walked in and ordered a coffee at noon like a normal person and stared at the blank space where winter used to hang. The bartender said, "You look like you're remembering something." "I'm remembering to forget," I said, and left cash on the bar and walked back out into the light. The air smelled like wet dirt and new things. The roads were ugly with thaw. Worcester in March is a mess. You don't love it for how it looks. You love it because you survived it. I still have the tag from that plaid box in a drawer. Your past. Merry Christmas. Sometimes I take it out and hold it and feel nothing. Other times I feel everything and let it pass. Healing, it turns out, is a weather pattern. It storms and clears and storms again. But I am learning to read the sky. If you need a neat moral, I have one, though life rarely offers them up. Hiding the truth doesn't bury it. It preserves it, and when it comes back, it wears a bow. 2 questions for you, if you've stayed with me this far. If you found your partner's pass wrapped in paper with your name on it, would you open it alone or in front of them? And where is the line between protecting your peace and becoming the kind of person who needs to check every box in the house? If this story helped you feel less alone, like and comment and subscribe for more.